is Alyssa Mahadeo, journalist and community reporter, and I dedicate my time to searching for the stories that matter the most. Positive, uplifting, and inspiring stories that spotlight the challenges and obstacles we conquer to become the people who we are today. I don't know about you, but I'm tired of all the fairy tale lifestyles that people seem to be living on social media. Girl, you did not wake up like that. I'm interested in the genuine connections, the honest opinions, and the real uncut version of your true self. This show is about keeping it 100% real, deconstructing who we are and what we're all about. Join me as we sit down with individuals to discuss the personal struggles, the many challenges, and the moments that define us on this journey of self-discovery. Let's be real, life isn't fair and people make mistakes, but every opportunity is a learning experience. Let's discover the truth together right here on Real Talk. Hello everyone and welcome to another edition of Real Talk. I'm your host Alyssa Mahadeo, and today on this show we are talking about the Harry Jerome Awards. Guys, Harry Jerome Awards is happening next Saturday, April 28th, and it's going to be an evening soiree event, black tie affair. And today on the show I have one of the awardees that will be presented with a Harry Jerome Award this year. So before we start the show, I want to tell everyone a little bit about what the Harry Jerome Awards are. The Harry Jerome Awards are celebrating 36 years this year, and they are recognized as the most prestigious national award gala in the African Canadian community. So every year, about 15 to 16 individuals are chosen to receive awards in academics, arts, health sciences, media, music, leadership, professional excellence, young entrepreneurs, and trailblazers within the African Caribbean community or African Canadian community that to celebrate the achievements and, you know, following in the footsteps of Harry Jerome. So Harry Jerome was an outstanding Canadian Olympic athlete, and he inspired African Canadians everywhere. He was an athlete, a scholar, and a social advocate. So he was very into the social justice aspect of the community. He got a lot of negative press during his time as an Olympic athlete. He overcame a lot of challenges that had happened during the time. He broke barriers, and people were very inspired by the work that he did. And unfortunately he passed away at a very, very young age. And that's why the awards were kind of created in his honor. So today with me I have Luke Welch. Luke is the awards recipient for the Arts Award this year at the Harry Jerome Awards, and Luke is a pianist. So Luke, I'm very excited to have you on the show today. As we were speaking about before, fun fact about Alyssa, I used to play the piano. I don't play the piano anymore, but during my time that I did play, it's a very, I won't say it's difficult, but it requires a lot of practice. In order to master the piano, you have to practice, you have to stay consistent, and you have to, like, that's how you master that craft. I think with any instrument, it's probably the same.
That's right. It's one of those things where you get out of it what you put into it, kind of thing. So
Exactly.
It's kind of the fun thing, yeah.
So, Luke, how long have you been playing the piano?
I've been playing since I was a really young kid, actually. Probably pretty much my whole life, as it were.
And was it something that your parents kind of put you into, or was it something you just picked up on your own?
The piano actually found me.
Okay.
When I was in elementary school, my teacher was teaching us different instruments. So, of course, with most people, they start with recorder.
Yeah.
Then they move on to, you know, different things, little ukuleles, things like that. So then when it came to piano, first he gave us a little cardboard cutout.
Okay.
And then we were trying to learn how to play on that. And then we graduated to a keyboard. And as soon as we went to the keyboard and I started playing it for the first time, my music teacher was like, "Where did you learn that?" And I said, "Well, I just put my hands and started playing."
Yeah.
So he brought me to the piano, and I just kept playing and playing. So everything he had taught us in choir and on the recorder, I was just able to play right on the spot.
Really?
So then that's when they kind of featured me in one of the school assemblies, and I had no idea. I was maybe like 5 or 6 years old. I just kind of walked up and started playing in front of everyone.
Yeah.
And
no fear.
No fear. No.
Really?
I mean, when you're so young, you don't know what's going on around you.
I guess you don't. I mean, so I could tell you about my own piano experience. I started playing the piano when I was probably around, I want to say 6 or 7, and it was because I was gifted a small little like keyboard, and I learned how to play Happy Birthday or Twinkle Twinkle Little Star on it. That's honestly what I did, and my parents were like, "Oh, you can play the piano," so they put me in piano classes, and then we kind of I took it from there. But again, I told you I wasn't serious about practicing. My mom's probably watching right now. She's probably like, yeah, true. But I wasn't really serious about practicing. And then I remember during one school assembly, like someone had asked me if I would play the piano, and I was like, sure. And like I didn't go in with it with like a lot of confidence either. And I got so nervous that I messed up the song that I was trying to play. I think I was trying to play like Celine Dion, like My Heart Will Go On. Like I went like right for the biggest song. And I messed up a couple times because I forgot my notes. I got like really nervous. My fingers got heavy, like, you know, and I got like, it was too much. And I remember that was the most embarrassing thing that I've done. But I was like, I think I was like 8 or 9 at the time too. And I was like, never doing this again. I don't want to play the piano. And that wasn't the thing that discouraged me. Thank goodness. I still stuck with it for a little while. I went and I had a piano teacher. I used to do private lessons. And I learned a lot during my time with piano. Again, I didn't have the discipline for the piano, but I love the sound of a piano.
Right.
I really love the sound.
And that's what drew me to it too, was the sound of the instrument too. I mean, when you have, 88 keys to kind of control, and just the sound of the hammers hitting the strings, I think for me something I'll never get tired of.
It's so beautiful. So who were some of your inspirations?
I would say foremost for piano. You mean? I have like my favorite sort of classical musicians that like Andreas Schiff or Glenn Gould, of course, one of the Canadian giants, or Oscar Peterson, even though he isn't classical. But in terms of more directly, I would say all of my piano teachers.
Okay.
All of them came to me. They were all sort of the right place at the right time for my career, I think.
I like that.
When I was really young, I had very sort of nurturing teachers, very, very soft. They were always very sort of positive, kept me sort of motivated to practice.
They're like, you can do this.
You can do it, and they would give me new stuff, and I was just, again, just so young and naive. I just did whatever they said, and just the results were there, And then when I got to university, I had a teacher named John Paul Bracey, and I'm sure that name will come very, very familiar in some circles. And he was much more sort of strict and disciplined, and he's like, if you want to take this seriously, you gotta, these are the things you gotta do. So the fun factor became sort of 50-50 with the sort of discipline factor, and that sort of opened my eyes to what you need to do if you're gonna hit the stage and become something serious.
So when did you do your first performance, like your recital?
That was, I think, 7 years old. I was.
Okay.
It was somewhere between 7 and 12. I had a teacher who brought me to the Polish consulate in Toronto, so it was, again, 500 or so Polish people who most of them couldn't speak any English, and it was outdoors on this big white grand piano.
Wow.
Waves crashing from the ocean.
I can see it. I can picture it.
Yeah. So it's my family and I and like 500 Polish Canadians, and went out there and played some Polish classical music and some other music that I had learned from my teacher.
Okay.
And apparently they all really loved it. Again, I didn't know. I just said, where's the piano? Played what they asked me to play. Yeah. And then everyone seemed to love it. So I think that was when I knew that maybe it was something that I could keep going with. That it wasn't something that was going to rattle me. So.
At 7?
Yeah.
At 7 years old?
Yeah.
I didn't know what I wanted to even be at 7 years old.
I mean, I didn't know if I wanted to do this as my career because I also played baseball when I was younger too.
Okay.
And I played that for, again, right around the time I started with piano, I started with baseball. And I did those two right up until university, and I had to choose between the two. So that's when.
Interesting that you went with piano. And it's funny, I used to play t-ball.
Yeah.
This is my background. I used to play t-ball, and I also used to do ballet.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I used to do ballet, and I used to take jazz class as well. And these were all when I was like really young. I think I used to live, like I grew up in Scarborough.
Okay. Yeah.
So after I moved out to Brampton, there was like no classes and there was nothing out here when I moved here. So it was really difficult for me to have to go back to Scarborough to do a lot of the things. That's why I kind of fell out of it, and then my school didn't offer it. It wasn't until like I got into high school when I went to like a performance arts school where it was like, okay, now you can do music, you can do drama, you can do dance, anything like that. But I was like, now I feel like it's too late.
It's never too late.
And it's never too late. It's just that I felt like because I didn't grow up doing it all the time and practicing and like developing a love and passion for it, it wasn't the same by the time I got into by the time I got into high school, because I think I developed interest in other things.
That's right. I think, and that's one of the things, especially with the arts, it's something you need to stay consistent with.
Yes.
I mean, if you have, I mean, I did have a gap at one point, sort of a tough point in my career. I did have a gap, but that was later on. Yeah. But I think especially when you're sort of forming your sort of identity as an
Exactly.
individual, you got to stick with it early, or else it's very quickly
There's
to
a
get
lot of
sidetracked.
things, like you kind of drop out of it. You don't. It's not that you want to, because I would have. I don't think if to this day, if I had stuck with piano, I feel like I would have done well in it.
Right.
It wouldn't have been something I would have been professional at, but I've been like, oh, I can play the piano. You know, kind of thing. Like, even when I tell people now, I'm just like, yeah, I used to play the piano because I can't claim to play it anymore. And I was telling you, like, and the piano too, a lot of the songs that I still remember are just things that I remember from muscle memory, because I
Right.
probably practiced them so much that I was like, oh yeah, no problem, I remember this.
But that's the thing. It's like riding a bicycle.
Yeah.
It is like riding a bicycle, you
Yeah.
know? So if you still remember it now, that means you can pick it back up again.
Yeah, if I had just wanted to sit down and practice and, you know, do it on a rigid schedule. How often do you practice?
Every day. Oh,
You
I mean,
practice every
yeah,
day.
yeah, yeah. Multiple hours per day, every day, because I mean, I have concerts coming up. I have recordings I'm gonna do. I'm
Yeah.
always trying to challenge myself to be the best version of myself. Or, you know,
I
when
like
I
that.
stop and I'm watching, you know, people on YouTube clips, or when I'm going to concerts, I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, I want to do that too.
Yeah.
So then you gotta put in the time, you know.
Yeah.
And I just love to be able to sit down every day and just do something for myself, you know.
Do you lose yourself in the sound of the piano?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes, 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 yes. I mean, because that's one thing I can be a little bit selfish about, you know?
Yeah.
Like, the piano's my sort of thing where, you know, if I feel like playing, no one's really going to interrupt me.
Yeah.
If I want to play certain type of music, no one can really tell me what I can do and what I can't do. So it's that chance to just be myself in a way, you know?
Yeah, I love that. See, I could not sit in front of the piano or the keyboard. Like, I had a keyboard, I didn't have a piano. I had a keyboard that I used to practice on, and I couldn't sit there for the whole hour.
No.
No, I think I just needed to be doing something else. I had too much energy to sit in front of the piano, and I couldn't channel it only into my fingers.
Right. But I was like that too when I was younger.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny, when my parents did decide to get me into piano lessons, I didn't want to do it anymore.
Really?
There was a little gap, and I mean, my parents are probably going to hear this. I should be careful with my words. But there was a point in time where, like, you know, they said, okay, here's your lessons, here's your teacher, here's your piano, and I said, no, I want to stop. Because I love to play, but I hated to practice, you know?
Okay.
I'm just like you,
Yeah.
you know, it's the middle of the summer,
Yeah.
all your friends are outside playing, and that's what you want to do too, is you don't want to be the one guy inside sitting in front of
Playing the
this.
piano. Be like,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
Yeah.
So we're gonna take a quick break. When we come back, we're gonna hear more about that story. Okay? So we'll be right back.
T-minus 15 seconds. Guidance is internal. 12, 11, 10, 9. Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
We are doing this event for the community. But what if CEO actually stood for catching every opportunity? This week alone, I've seen 3 businesses that shut their doors in this community.
Investing in yourself, like you have to know what your brand is first. So there's no other way that you're going to build a brand unless you network. You have to eventually get out there.
And it stems down to a lot of times not having the right knowledge, the right know-how.
welcome back. You're watching Real Talk, and that was a little snippet of Luke playing at. You can tell us where you were playing exactly.
That was at Holy Trinity and in the Music Monday series in Toronto.
So that was in Toronto, and you were saying that kind of happened after you came back from spending almost 10 years in the Netherlands.
Yes, well, that was actually, I did a concert tour in New Zealand, and then I flew back to play this concert in front of my family and stuff like that in this series. Yeah.
And you were saying that you don't really get to play in front of them, which I think is really funny because I feel like my parents used to like watch me practice.
Yes. And then for me, that was also the weird thing too, because I mean, they had seen me grow, and right up until university level, they were coming to all my performances and stuff. And then I moved away a while back now, it seems. Yeah. And I mean, I moved back there because I had to resurrect my career, which was just about over.
Okay.
I when I was studying at Western University, I developed some tendonitis and carpal tunnel, things like that. So I had to stop playing for about 3 years. So my career was almost over, and the Netherlands gave me a scholarship to come and study there.
Okay.
And I figured, okay, this will be the chance to kind of get my career going again.
So you mentioned before the break that you had, when your parents finally put you into lessons and things like that, you were just like, nope, don't want to do it anymore. What happened there? What was the change in heart?
Well, at one point, my teacher would come over to the house every week and say, Luke needs to practice, because if my lessons that were, let's say, 10 o'clock on a Saturday morning, 9:30 was when I was practicing, you know?
That's me. That's me. Like the hour before I have to go.
Yeah. So then they're like, yeah, he could be doing a lot better if he actually put in the work. So my parents were like, okay, come on. You got to practice. So then they would come home every day after work and say, Luke, did you practice? Yeah. And if I gave a convincing, yes, I practiced my hour a day, they'd let me off the hook. But most times they didn't believe me, so they would make me practice my hour. And there was a bit of resentment to me wanting to practice, but then at one point it's like, okay, if I'm sitting in front of the piano,
might as well do something.
I may as well put in the, put in a legit effort. So then at one point I realized, wow, it's actually a lot of fun to do. And I knew that like tomorrow I was going to be better than I was today, and a week from now I'll be better than I was a week ago. So
you had the ambition and the drive to do better.
Yes.
With the piano, like this was something that you were looking to master.
That's right. And I mean, so many people were saying that I was doing well. So then I was like, well, if enough people are saying it, then maybe I should start to believe it.
That's the thing, and I feel like that's kind of where we're different. Like I felt that I was okay as a piano player, but I wasn't like, wow, this is amazing. Like when I play, people cry. You know what I mean? And that's kind of where I was aiming. And I'm sure that if I maybe put in a little bit more time, more effort, I had more passion for it, that I could have gotten there. But just because I didn't have that is why it just didn't really work out for me. I don't think I was meant to be a piano player. That wasn't my destiny. But people were just like, yeah, you should do this. Also, I like to have really long nails.
Yeah, that's hard to play when you have.
And you can't, like, my teacher would always make me cut my nails. She would always be like, you can't do that. You can't, like, I was like, but this is too many rules. I don't want to deal with this, So that's kind of what I would, that's what ended up happening to me. I would always try and practice, the 10 minutes before I had to go, and then my teacher would be like, you didn't practice this week, and I'm like, no, I didn't. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So you said that you had to choose between baseball and piano.
That's right.
Why did you go to piano?
There were two reasons. One is if I was going to become a baseball player, I didn't really know how to do it. I mean, to study or to play baseball at the university level here, I wasn't really sure if you could still get drafted into Major League Baseball. And I wanted to play for the Toronto Blue Jays. That was always my dream, Yeah. And then to move to the States, I mean, there are a lot of baseball players to choose from. So I said, I'm not going to go and pay $100,000 a year to maybe or maybe not have a career there. But then the other part of it was that with music, I'd been doing it for so long, I didn't want to lose it. I couldn't see myself 10, 20 years later being like seeing other people play and being like, I could be doing that too, So I said I can't give it up. I gotta stick with it, and that's why I decided to keep going.
And then when you went to university,
right?
What did you go to study?
What did I study?
Yeah.
I majored in music.
You majored in music.
I did a double major between music and journalism.
Okay. Look.
Yeah.
All right. So you did a double major between, okay, all right. And how long did that take you?
A while. Well, I did, the undergrad I did for 4 years, and then I did another 3 years for the master's program.
Okay.
Just in piano, though.
Okay, and then you said, so you moved to the Netherlands because that's where you got the scholarship to to attend. And then while you're out there, what kind of experiences did you have? Because I know, you're from Mississauga.
Right.
Right? So what was it like moving out there and living out there?
It was totally different.
Yeah.
Up is down, black is white. The exact opposite. The people are different. The culture is different. The food is different. I went there with the focus of just trying to get my piano career going again.
Okay.
So I didn't really think about anything culturally or what sort of reset buttons I was going to have to hit or what it was going to feel like leaving my family,
Yeah.
tens of thousands of kilometers away
Were they
and stuff
upset
like that.
about it? Were they like, no, Luke, don't leave us?
Well, they were mixed because they were happy to see that I was going to try to do something that they would love to do.
Yeah.
But at the same time, having their son go so far away by himself was, I'm sure, not an easy thing for them to deal with.
Yeah, like I know for me, like my parents didn't want me to like go away for university.
Yeah.
Live at home. So things like that, like I totally understand, especially coming from. What's your background? Like, where are your parents from?
My dad is from Barbados.
Okay.
My mom is from Jamaica.
Okay, so see, even having a West Indian background, Caribbean background, like they like to hold on to their
That's
kid,
right. That's right.
Right, so they're just like, no, you can't go anywhere. Don't worry, it's fine. You can do it locally.
That's right.
Right?
But at the same time, I think they understood because
Yeah.
my dad also is here in Canada and my mom is also here, so they know what it feels like to be moving away.
Yeah.
I think the thing that they were most worried about is if I would ever come back.
Oh.
So I think there was a bit of damage control coming home to visit at least once a year, every year. So
Yeah.
over those 9.5 years, I was always home every year to see them.
That's good.
But I think they're also like, well, is he going to now develop roots in the Netherlands and really stay out there?
Yeah,
or,
yeah.
is there a chance that it was just temporary and it's going to come back? So I think me being back now puts everyone's mind at ease.
Yeah, because they like to see you there. So you said you had developed some tendonitis.
Right.
And that kind of caused you to put your piano career on the back burner a little bit. What was it like during that time not being able to play the piano?
It was horrible.
Yeah.
It was horrible. It wasn't even that my piano career was sort of on halt. It was like I couldn't dress myself. I couldn't open a door. Like my hands were completely useless.
Yeah.
I couldn't put on a backpack. It was really dire straits,
Yeah.
And it was around that time that I was seeing all of my friends or fellow students that were graduating, and then they were playing concerts and they're going off to do all these big music things, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I want to do that
That could
too,
be
but I'm
me, yeah.
stuck, I'm
Yeah.
stuck in neutral. And so I would talk to my parents and talk to family members and stuff, and they were all like, we don't really know what to do because they
Yeah.
aren't musicians and they're not doctors, so they're like, it sucks to be you, but we would love to help you, we just don't know how, And then I would see different doctors, and I was going to different specialists, and they were all just sort of
At a loss.
at a loss,
So how did you end up treating it or overcoming it a little bit so that you were able to play again?
I went to one doctor who said, if you can play 5 minutes a day, or 5 minutes a week, or 5 minutes a year, play until your body tells you to stop. So I actually played my way into it again.
Okay.
Which is a little bit sort of counterintuitive, Usually
Yeah.
they would say, stop until you're healed, but they're like, but actually just
Play as much as you can.
play as much as you can, trust your body, and get into it. So then when I moved to the Netherlands, I could feel myself playing a little bit more each week, a little bit more each day, and building myself up to my first hour of being able to play a day.
Yeah.
And then that was like a big breakthrough,
Yeah.
And then being able to play my first full performance again, I was really excited, and then
Yeah.
really kind of worked my way back into my career.
That's amazing.
Started going on tour and stuff after that.
Yeah. So where are some of the places or concerts that you've performed? Places in the world?
All over. I've played
Yeah.
all through the UK. So I've played in England, Ireland, Wales, Scotland. I've played in New Zealand. I played in France. I played in Germany, Netherlands, Belgium, Italy. I'm going to Australia next year. Literally all over the world.
And there's no sort of stage fright for any of these performances that you do?
It gets easier in some ways. I think as long as you're prepared for what you're going to do, like this is what it comes back to practicing. So if you
Yeah.
practice and you put in the work every day, then there's not really much to be worried about.
Have you ever made any mistakes during any pieces?
What's a mistake, really? That's a bit of a loaded question.
Well, when I say mistake, like, first of all, the audience never knows that you've made a mistake,
Right.
right? Because only you know that you've made your mistake. But has anything ever caused you to freeze up during a performance, or you're just able to play all the way through? No problem?
Yeah, I played through. I think the toughest part sometimes is when you're traveling, when you have time zone differences. Like when I
Okay.
flew to New
So,
Zealand,
like,
it was
the
a
jet lag,
13-hour
yeah.
time difference. It was
Yeah.
almost impossible to get through, but you still find a way to do it because you're like, it's just another day at the office,
Who are some of the people that you've met along the way that have helped you?
Oh, everyone. Everyone. I mean, all of the concert promoters that I've played for, they've all been really accommodating. You know, they'll pick me up. They've invited me into their homes. They've shown me a really great time. Again, all of my old teachers and stuff like that, and I've met other people that I've worked with who have sort of given me little tidbits of advice on how to deal with certain situations when I'm in them and stuff. So, and even just the audiences and stuff.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the things when you're talking about mistakes. It's not necessarily about how many right notes you play. It's a matter of what sort of environment you can create with the audience. You know.
Yeah.
So you at the end of a performance or something, you can look at everyone it's almost like a kumbaya feeling.
Yeah.
Everyone just wants to hug, and you almost feel like you know each other, even though you have never met before. You know.
So you enjoy making the emotional connection
Yes.
with the audience through your music.
Because that's what it's about, really. I think.
I can really appreciate that, because again, I like to hear a piece of music, or I like to read a story, and look at it and feel some type of emotion, because
Yes.
then I feel what the artist or the musician or the writer has put into that work.
Right. And I
Right?
think that's what it's about. It's not how many correct, notes or words or something like that. You're trying to build something. You're trying to create an environment. So if you can get people to understand what you're trying to do, and then you can sort of invite them into your world, then it just becomes a nicer feeling, I think.
That's
You can feel it.
amazing.
You can actually feel it when you're playing and stuff.
That's
like that
really
too.
amazing.
Yeah.
So I don't want to get into a whole other conversation right now, so I'm gonna wrap this up a little bit. But when we come back, we're gonna hear more from Luke and his journey and his piano career as a pianist as well. So we'll be right back.
Think you have what it takes to bring value to the community? The TCN TV network is expanding and now accepting TV show proposals. Here's an opportunity to build celebrity status and become part of an elite group of community advocates that are focused on building, strengthening, and empowering our community in a positive way. Are you interested in embarking on a new adventure? TCN TV is searching for people interested in opportunities to change the conversation and pave an unforgettable legacy. If you feel you have something of value to offer, send a written show proposal to shows@mytcntv.com.
Everyone, you're watching Real Talk every Friday from 1 to 2 p.m. with your host, Alyssa Mahadeo. Guys, today on the show we are talking about the Harry Jerome Awards, and we're here with Luke Welch, who is a Canadian pianist, and he has played internationally across so many international stages. And I can really appreciate the art of the piano and of people who make music, people who create music, people who... Have you ever composed any of your own pieces?
I have not.
Okay.
I have not. A lot of people have asked me that,
Yeah.
and I tend to avoid it whenever possible because
Why?
I just don't feel like I would be able to add anything of interest, Like I just wouldn't know which way to go. I don't really feel like I have.
Is it because there's so many pieces out there that have already been written?
Yeah.
That you feel that, how could I do this better?
That's right. And I mean, it's almost, you could almost make the same argument for performing that, you
can make the same argument for writing as well.
That's right.
I'm
that's
telling
right.
you this because I still have a book to write that I have not written, because I'm like, I have nothing more to contribute to the world.
And that's how it feels, You have, Bach and Beethoven and Mozart and then Luke, and it just doesn't
But
really
see,
seem to
you
fit
can't
the
say
same.
it like Luke.
No, but in terms of composing, that's how I would say. I mean, I don't feel that same way with performing. I feel a little bit more sort of settled in my shoes to be able to offer something. Like I wouldn't necessarily compare myself to the Glenn Goulds or something, because you just can't do that.
So you've never dabbled in it, never tried it?
Only for school assignments.
Okay.
But never past that. And people keep asking, why do you compose?
How did your school assignments go?
I think they were okay, but to
What
me
was
felt
the
academic.
feedback that you got from
It was
your
good. It
teachers?
was positive feedback. They liked what I
Okay.
did, and even for my sort of even my master's thesis, I had to compose on a theme of another composer,
Okay.
and it went really well. But I don't know. I just don't I look at so many other great pieces of music, and I'm just inspired by them, and I just don't feel like I could ever reach that level. And I shouldn't be comparing myself in that way, but I just maybe one day I'll change my mind.
But I can relate to that. Like I understand where you're coming from, because it's just like there's so many other works that have been written out there, things that have been composed, like so much beautiful music that has been created already, that you're just like, how could I make this even more beautiful?
Yeah, or I would almost feel like I'm copying it, like a cheap,
yeah, and you never want to feel like that.
That's right.
Yeah, because at that point you just don't write it. You just, no, I'll keep that to myself.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
And I mean, with a lot of other composers, they've studied composition, so I would need to go back again and meet with people to teach me all of the rules and sort of some creative techniques to be able to do it again. So that would invest a lot more time that would be taken away from some of the other things that I'd like to do.
What about like co-writing and collaborating?
I would do that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not opposed to writing or being on the creative side of it, but I mean, to sit down and be like, okay, I'm gonna play this in a concert.
Yeah.
I would even rather write a book than I would than composing, because I just don't know how much I would have to offer and what sort of level of interest it would have to the people listening to it.
So when you play, what type of emotion are you trying to create with the audience? What type of connection are you trying to make with the people who you're playing for, you're performing for?
It depends on the piece. It depends on the actual music itself.
So tell me about some of the pieces that you've played.
For example, right now I'm working on. I played a Scarlatti, Domenico Scarlatti album, which is an Italian composer from back in the Bach days. He would be the Italian version of Bach. A lot of keyboard trickery, a lot of hand crossings and cool things.
Fancy things.
Yeah, that look really cool, and it's really fun to play. So I was doing a lot of that. But also within the music, there was some sort of deeper music. It wasn't just about trickery. It was actually a lot of depth to it. Or even now I'm playing a Beethoven sonata, which has got a lot of sort of somberness to it, so it depends again on the music. Sometimes it's supposed to be happy and you want to sort of cheer up the audience and have them forget about their sort of day-to-day worries, or sometimes you are trying to bring them into a little bit of a darker place, but then let them out at the end, so it depends on the music. You're trying to not just play the right notes, you're trying to really create an environment for them to sort of lose themselves a little bit.
What's your favorite piece? What's your favorite piece to play?
Impossible. That's impossible to choose.
Really?
Whatever piece I'm playing at that time is my favorite piece.
Okay. Like, there's not one piece over the others that you're just like, I really enjoy playing this piece, or that you could even play it from memory? Or is there a lot of pieces that you could play from memory?
The pieces I like the most, I tend not to play.
Okay.
Because I don't want to ruin it. I would rather hear someone else play it.
Because you don't want to overplay it.
I don't want to overplay it, or I don't want to ever be like, well, I have an idea of how it should go, but I can't get there myself. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I'd rather sit back and hear someone else perform it and choose a bunch of other pieces that I really enjoy and leave those very few favorites of the favorites off the list. Maybe I'll get to them one day, but. And
how does playing the piano make you feel?
Great. It's what gets me out of bed in the morning, because I know that it's never, the work is never done.
Yeah.
You can never wake up one day and be like, I've completely, mastered piano.
Yeah.
That I've cracked my knuckles. I've done everything I can ever do with it.
Yeah.
You can never really retire from it.
You really can. I feel like you could play the piano well into your old age.
Yes. Yeah.
Like your grandchildren will hear you play the piano one day, perhaps.
That's really it too. That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah.
And because there's so much music to choose from, and I mean, even just the joy itself, like you could never wake up one day and be like, well, I'm tired of smiling. I never want to smile again. Like it would be like the same, you always feel like there's more to do, or you can always just kind of go back and play your favorites all over again, or learn something new and keep challenging yourself,
What about some concerts that you've maybe gone to? Have you seen any other famous international pianists play?
Yes, I've seen a bunch.
Perform live? Yeah.
You might or might not recognize them. Evgeny Kissin, I've seen. Lang Lang.
Okay.
Andreas Schiff. When I was living in the Netherlands, there was a big concert venue, so a lot of the most famous classical artists would come there, and we could get tickets for €5 and just go to see our favorite performers and sit. Any tickets that weren't sold, we could just go and sit right there and watch them, So
that's amazing. Yeah. And were you able to ever meet any of these?
Almost all of them, yeah. You can just go right after they perform. They go backstage and
really,
yeah.
They're
very
cool.
Accessible people, very, very laid back, down to earth people.
I think because we're used to the North American experience where it's always like people are like they've got like 10 security guards and you can't get close to them and you can't talk to them. You can't even ask them their opinion on something.
That's really it, and I think that's one of the more interesting things is that like the accessibility factor. One of the things I like, especially being a musician, is that it's nice to be able to approach people that you are inspired by, you know, that you could actually sit there and be like, wow, Mr. or Mrs. So-and-so, who you've inspired me to do this my whole career. Now we can actually have a conversation, or you can see them just doing regular things, you know, just sipping a coffee or things that you would never expect them. They're actually human beings, you know.
Yeah, and of course they are. It's just because people put them up on that pedestal.
That's right.
They're just like, oh my God, you can't be in the same room, you can't breathe the same air as
That's
them.
right. That's really it, you know.
Yeah.
And if you do have those opportunities, you just don't know what to do with yourself. You know?
Exactly. Honestly, I feel like I would be that person. Just don't know what to do with myself. I feel like, oh my God, I've like listened to you play, and I'm sure that even if I had seen you perform and not met you, I would have thought the same way about you, because I'm like, wow, that's amazing. Like, he's playing these pieces and they're so elaborate. And
Right.
so beautiful, and it's so like emotionally driven. It's like that I wouldn't know how to come now and talk to you, because I'm like, I feel like you put your heart and soul into that performance.
That's right.
And I was just like, this is too much.
And that happens sometimes too. Like I mean, I just think of me as me. I'm just another guy walking down the street who happens to play piano, you know?
Yeah.
So then when I'm at my concerts, sometimes backstage, these people are coming up and they're just completely overwhelmed.
awe.
And I'm just
Yeah.
like, no, come on, it's just me, you know? Just
Yeah.
another guy.
Yeah, that's really amazing. So, what about any fun stories that you've had over your years in either performances or people that you've met, or just, you know, like your own experience in performance?
There's a lot of them. I mean, there's some sort of last minute rushing onto stage, or, you know, equipment failures, things like that. One of the funniest moments I had, which started a little bit awkwardly but ended really well, was when I was in Germany and I played at the Beethoven House. And this is one of the most...
when you hear the Beethoven House, you automatically think, oh my God, this is a really
it really
prestigious
is.
venue.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Beethoven was born in this building, and I'm playing Beethoven in front of, you know, a very well-educated group of concert goers.
And you always, like, do you ever worry about the critique that you're going to receive?
No.
No, never.
You can't. I mean, that's when you start to get nervous, and then you start getting
Yeah.
inside your own head, you know?
Yeah.
It's almost like with, I always use a sports analogy. Like, you just gotta have a game plan and execute your game plan. You can't really think about anything else other than trying to control what you can control, you know?
What about, so you were saying your story was funny?
Yeah, so then they announced, you know, coming all the way from Canada, Luke Welch, and they're expecting this sort of, I don't know what they're expecting, but certainly when I walked out on stage, I don't think they were
were like,
expecting this is the
Luke
guy,
Welch,
you know?
yeah.
So there was like, they were applauding, and then they sort of hesitated. Oh, and then they kind of recovered quickly to, you know, once the sort of shock factor wore off. And then it actually turned out to be one of the better performances I've ever done. And got one of the best sort of responses that I've ever had. So it went from really this sort of back and forth with
Awkward,
the
you're
audience.
like, oh. Okay.
Yeah. Ta-da!
I guess we're here for this.
Yeah.
That's amazing. But, so have you ever, like, done any competitions?
When I was younger, I did.
You used to do competitions?
But I don't like
don't-
them. I really despise them. They have a purpose, and I mean, it's a good launching platform for people's careers. But I just don't. I don't like sitting beside, you know, 10 other pianists, all sort of equally
I feel like
stressed out
that's more
and
of an
frustrated.
anxiety factor
Yeah.
to be in a competition than to do a performance.
It really is. It really,
Yeah.
because it's you know, like I was saying, when you're going onto the stage to perform and create this environment, when you're going out there in a competition setting, you're just going out there to win. You're going out there to make yourself look good and make everyone else look secondary. And I don't
Yeah.
think that's what the music should be about. You
It
know?
really shouldn't.
No.
No.
So I whenever I can, I tend to avoid it.
That's good. So I don't want to get into anything else right now. I want to hear about a little bit about this nomination that you received for the Harry Jerome Awards, but we will get into that after we take a quick break. So we'll be right back.
One night, it was the night where I got promoted to becoming the sales leader of the team, and that was like the best day of my life. And I'm driving home at 3 a.m, and I fell asleep behind my wheel. It's cold, it's winter, it's December 22nd, right? Literally Christmas Eve, and I drive my car into a utility pole, a thick wooden one, and my car spun and hit a fire hydrant, and then I landed on the edge of a hill going down into a parking lot. If I had a passenger, they would have been dead. And I woke up the next day, I went straight back to the office. I have a cast on my hand. I walk in, I'm like, I almost died last night and I'm still early. Don't be late.
Think you have what it takes to bring value to the community? The TCN TV network is expanding and now accepting TV show proposals. Here's an opportunity to build celebrity status and become part of an elite group of community advocates that are focused on building, strengthening, and empowering our community in a positive way. Are you interested in embarking on a new adventure? TCN TV is searching for people interested in opportunities to change the conversation and pave an unforgettable legacy. If you feel you have something of value to offer, send a written show proposal to shows@mytcntv.com.
Welcome back. You're watching Real Talk. I'm your host, Alyssa Mahadeo, and today on the show I have Harry Jerome awardee Luke Welch, and he is here to we're celebrating his accomplishment in the years of being a pianist, and he's receiving the Arts Award as a Harry Jerome Award for this year's selection. So you were nominated by your dad.
Yes, that's right.
You said. So, I mean, that's amazing that your dad was like, I recognize that my son is doing great things in the world, and I'm very proud of him, and I want to show him, and he nominated you for this award, and you won. So, tell me about your reaction when they called you.
I just about hit the floor.
Yeah.
I did not. I was hoping for it, but of course, because it's such a competitive thing and it's such a prestigious thing, I really didn't expect.
If you see the application process, because I've gone through the application process, writing the article and stuff like that. And I'm like, it's a very there's a board of people. You have to be nominated. You have to submit all this, all of your accomplishments, all the proof, like the work that you've done, things like that over the years.
Right.
And so it's a myriad of things before they actually select you to win this award.
It really is. It's it's a laundry list of things to get done, and I mean, to be able to put it all together, I was just like, I don't know how it's all going to sort itself out, you know, and it's all up to fate and the blessings of God. But I was, like I said, when I got the phone call, I was completely in shock.
And you recently came back to live here in Canada right? So how long has it been now since you've been back?
I came in on New Year's Eve, so it's been about 4 months.
Oh, so you haven't even been here that long.
No.
You literally just came back.
That's right.
And now you're winning a Harry Jerome Award in Canada, one of the most prestigious African Canadian awards that you
It was
could win.
the best way to start the year, really. Yeah.
Wow, that is amazing. So, who's coming to support you at this year's event?
My lovely wife will be there.
Oh.
Yeah. Lena, she'll be coming to the event. I mean, I would love to have my parents there as well. Although unfortunately it didn't work out this time around. But they send their support as well, and I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun.
And so, in your how long has your career been in piano now?
Without dating myself, just say a long time. I'll say a
Okay,
very
so
long time.
We'll say it's been a long time.
Yeah.
If you don't mind sharing, how did you meet your wife?
In the Netherlands.
Okay.
It was right after I had graduated from the conservatory in Rotterdam. I was starting my first year of work there, and she was just starting to study there. She's a saxophone player.
Oh, cool. Saxophone. So, okay. All right. Musical family.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So, and I'm sure she fell in love with your ability to play the piano.
Yes. Yeah, that's the best part, is because she I hope likes my playing. I hope.
She
say
likes
that.
it.
I'm very tentative when I say that. She hasn't walked out of a performance, let's say.
Well, that's good, but I think that's for the support. She's like, I can't leave.
That's right. But that also makes her my most sincere critic, let's say, because she hears me practicing all the time. She's seen me perform a lot of times, so her level of expectation is probably even higher than mine as to how I'm supposed to do when I'm on stage.
Yeah,
which is
I
a blessing
so.
and a curse.
That's what I'm saying. She keeps you on your toes then.
That's right.
That's
That's right.
good.
In a good way. Yeah.
So, Luke, what's next for you? Where are you headed down the road in the future in your career?
I'm going to keep doing more of the same, hopefully. In a couple of weeks, I'll be playing in Ottawa and then Montreal. And later in the year, I'll be going back to the Netherlands for the first time. So I'll be playing there for a couple of performances, and then off to Paris. And then next year off to Australia, New Zealand, and stuff again. So it's just
World
keeps
tour.
more of the same.
World
and I'm going to be
tour.
recording a new album as well later this year, too.
Okay.
So I'm getting excited about that, too.
Have you ever recorded? Do you already have another album?
I have 2 albums out.
Okay.
The last one came out last year, so I'm going right back into it because it went really well. So I'm gonna put another one out.
And I know that a lot of pianists also, like as many artists, do have their own specific style. How would you describe yours?
Ooh,
This is from your perspective because I can't ask anybody else. No one
Right,
else to
right,
say
right. It's hard to say of a style. I would say it's a very malleable, versatile style. Like, I don't really like to pigeon myself as saying, I only play this way, I only play that way. I do what the music calls for, and add a little bit of myself, but I try not to overshadow the composer or the music itself. I don't want to impose myself on the music. I just try to let the music flow.
This is a random question, and it's probably going to sound so weird, but have you ever tried to collaborate with your wife, even playing the piano and the saxophone together?
Absolutely not. Again, that's one of these questions, like the composing question. Everyone asks that question, and for as long as I can do it, it will be forbidden.
I'm also trying to think how the piano and the saxophone go together. I've never heard them played together. I don't think.
It sounds really good.
Does
sounds
it?
Yeah. We've had a bit of fun and enjoyment playing at home for fun.
Yeah.
But I mean, to put together a program and play, I think it would just add to the level.
I'm glad to know that you've tried it.
Yes.
Not that you're doing it to perform performance-wise or to compose things together,
I mean,
but that you've at least tried it. Like, let's sample this. Let's just.
Of course. I mean, we
fun.
have two musicians in the house, so sometimes we play four hands on the piano, or we have jam out on different instruments. But I mean, to take the show on the road, when it happens, it happens. But I'll keep bobbing and weaving as long as I can.
No, that's completely fine. So I'm glad that you've come so far. Like, I've enjoyed speaking to you actually here on the show today, and congratulations on your win.
Thank you very much.
It's a really great accomplishment, and it's something that's gonna follow you for the rest of your life. You're gonna be known as the guy.
It's been my pleasure.
Yeah.
I'd love to be here too. I've enjoyed this afternoon with you.
Yeah, so I also wanted to take a minute to recognize the other award recipients that will be receiving awards next week. So on April 28th is when the Harry Jerome Awards will be taking place. It's going to be evening time. I believe tickets are $200, and you can find them on their website. But I also wanted to celebrate the following people as well. So Pamela Peltz, she's winning the Lifetime Achievement Award. Nadia Hamilton is winning the Youth Entrepreneur Award. Dr. Kwame McKenzie is winning the Trailblazers Award. Dr. Yabome Giplin-Jackson is winning the Professional Excellence Awards. Lamont Wiltshire and Odine Eccleston winning the Business Awards. Jenny Gums, Public Advocacy Award. Carolyn Marfel is winning the Leadership Award. Julie Black is winning the Entertainment Award. Kyan Cross is winning the Academics Award. Mike York is winning the Diversity Award. Pauline Christian, who is the previous president of the BPPA, is winning the President Award. Rowan Barrett Jr. is winning the Athletics Award. Keith Merith is winning the Community Service Award. Matt Galloway, the Media Award. Luke Welch is winning the Arts Awards. And Floydine Charles Friedel is winning the Health Sciences Award. So congratulations to all the winners of this year's awards. I will be there next week, supporting you guys. And, thank you so much. Congratulations on your win, and I wish you all the success moving forward.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be here, and it's my honor to receive this award as well. So thanks again.
So guys, that's been another edition of Real Talk. Thank you again for joining me this week. Please check the description box below. You can actually follow Luke on Instagram and on Facebook. So, keep up to date, see where he's performing. Are you going to be doing any performances in Toronto?
Yes. In May, next month, I'll be performing at the St. Barnabas on the Danforth.
Okay, so he'll be there, so you guys can go see him next month. And make sure you subscribe to the channel, and I will see you again next week, guys. So, bye.